Hello and welcome to the American Soccer Crash Course. The producer got it together and was able to get us in studio today, got the equipment back from Thanksgiving journeys. And Lodge, I think it's clear we have to talk about what I'm wearing today, which is, of course,
the elephant in the room.
My Tyler Adams jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4, baby.
Yeah, how about it, guys? I had a little surprise on Monday when I got home back to Chicago. I remembered ordering this, couldn't find a receipt for it, and just showed up at my door right before this glorious Iran game. So
yeah,
it was a big surprise. So I was good to get the elephant out of the room.
You know, Christian, it sounded like you got a cold or something. Like there's something like almost in your nose or on your nose. I don't know what it is.
No, I do have a cold, and I might cough on multiple occasions. But I think you're referring to the full clown suit I have going on.
Maybe.
Lodge, sometimes in your life you start a podcast about the promising prospects of the U.S. men's national team. And then you forget to account for the fact that they have a couple warm-up games before this World Cup, and they look terrible. And it really, throws you for a loop because you didn't expect this.
Right.
You bought fancy arms for your podcast mics, and it really throws you for a loop. And
shook you to the core. Yeah,
it really did. And you go on to make the foolish mistake after lots of hard work in the podcast of saying that the U.S. men's national team won't make it out of the group. And as a result, a little side bet you and I had, you end up on the pod in full clown gear. So I'm happy to be here. Truly. I mean, it's worth it. It's all worth it. But
the jokes are going to be coming hut and heavy this episode, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
Okay.
And ready to get going on the Dutch on Saturday. But I can't believe I'm going to be trying to give my best analysis in full clown suit. It's gonna be something. So Lodge, I figure this is an episode that plays to your strengths, right? You're the tactician here, the knower of European football. I would say more than I, who's more of an American soccer super fan with still watches a lot of soccer.
Sure.
But yeah, so I'm excited to get going on this Dutch preview here. So to start off with, the Netherlands were in Group A, which we pointed out was the weakest group. As Max Heath said, the group of potential kickbacks.
Right.
Thanks to Qatar being there. And they finished first. They had 2 wins and a draw. They beat Qatar, which is, of course, a given.
Mickey Mouse group, some may say. I think you might share a nose with him or something like that. But.
Something like that. And they ended up first, followed by Senegal, who beat out Ecuador in a close one. But yeah, to get to them, Lodge, we're gonna go Q&A today. We got some questions from our Instagram, and I want to start with saying, who on the Netherlands should we be worried about? Who are their main men, their stars, if you will?
Sure. So breakout star number 1, the guy we got to talk about, current Golden Boot in the running, Cody Gakpo, who is a striker, plays in the Eredivisie, same league that Ricardo Pepi, who we've been talking up, didn't make the squad. Actually has more goals than him, I would like to point out, in the Eredivisie,
Which
the
is
Dutch league. But Cody Gakpo is a breakout star that is playing striker for them, has three goals, has scored in pretty much every game.
Yep.
And has really just been clinical. He's kind of a scary one to watch. Additionally, another name that you may know is Frankie de Jong. He's a Barcelona player, plays in the midfield, very much an engine, a pace setter, somebody that we're going to see a lot with the ball. And then
anything about his personal life?
About his personal life.
Yeah.
Very, very, very beautiful girlfriend, Mickey Kimeni. I think I talked about her. Probably on this podcast, I talked about her
on the last one.
One too, yeah. But she's great, so look out for her. MIKKYKIEMENEY.
We don't expect she's going to get many minutes in this one, but
no,
unless they really blow us out.
Yeah. And then lastly, the main guy that you're expecting from this team to talk about, Virgil van Dijk, world-class center back, has won pretty much everything with Liverpool that is possible. A little bit of questions around A, his fitness, B, this is his first World Cup, so how is he going to start faring in the knockout rounds, as well as Liverpool's play this year is starting to show a few cracks in his otherwise impenetrable defense. So those are kind of the three guys that you probably want to look out for.
Yeah, widely regarded for a long time as like one of the best defender, probably the best defender in the world. And some people went as far as to say one of the best players in the world. But definitely seems to be dropping off a little bit. But, what we have to throw at him may not be as formidable. So let's jump right into that. We have a question from our friend of the pod, Carter Sperry, who asks, what do we do at striker? He felt like Josh Sargent was poor. First of all, should we address that? Did you feel like Josh Sargent was poor?
Starting off, I think Josh Sargent did exactly what Greg Berhalter asked of him. I think Greg Berhalter is looking for a guy who can play hold up, not a guy who can always put the ball in the back of the net. That's just the way that he wanted. I think when it was Jesus Ferreira and Ricardo Pepi in our last window going up to the World Cup, he said, I don't want a guy that can score goals. I want a guy that can play in my system, which is pretty psycho, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, Josh Sargent, a guy that kind of shares your hair, super good at play. He's been incredible at doing exactly what Greg has asked for him, playing up against the back, a lot of hold-up play. Has had one or two chances, a couple glimmers, not really that much of a crack at goal. But I don't know if that's necessarily what you need. I think what Carter's kind of referring to is, do you think he can do the exact same thing against Virgil van Dijk, which is a scary prospect to think of.
Yeah.
Virgil is a 6'4" behemoth, scary man, fast as hell, is probably going to put a knee in your back if you're a striker facing away from the goal anytime that he has the opportunity to, can run you down, can kill you at any specific way. I think that probably Josh Sargent is the guy you start with still.
Yeah, I like that. There was that one statistic on Virgil van Dijk in club play, right? It was something like, I don't know the number, but it was something where he went like multiple years without anybody like blowing by him.
Beating him on the dribble. It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think that's the way you're going to beat this team. I think it's probably going to be you just have to go around him in some way, shape, or form. And I think Josh Sargent gives us the best opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it's kind of funny. Like in some of I think I mentioned this in the Iran preview, but some of my friends were also texting about Tim Weah and how they felt like he had a bad game. And it's like, yeah, he did. He definitely wasn't clinical by any means in that Iran game, but I think him and Josh Sargent, even with that, did lots in the way of combining, dropping, like facilitating. Like, for example, Tim Weah had the first touch on that 11 pass sequence that led to the implicit goal. So, I think a guy that connects well. I mean, hey, we are not opposed to him putting it in the back of the net.
No, we're not.
But I think, and then you look at the other options. Haji Wright been awful.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I don't think he's been terrible.
Okay.
I think, kind of hard to come in 70th minute, 80th minute every time, trying to do the exact same thing, coming off a little bit of the pace.
Yeah.
People definitely are going to make the argument he's taller. He might be more fit to play against Virgil. I don't think that that's something that we need to do right now.
Yeah.
Might be something that when we get to the game, you make a second half adjustment.
Yeah. He doesn't play to his size, Haji Wright either. But I wouldn't say he's done a ton to justify his unexpected inclusion on the roster so far. But I'm all in on the Sargent train. I think otherwise you're putting Jesus Ferreira in there, who, let's face it, Virgil van Dijk will put the clamps on him. Yeah, that will not be a problem for Virgil van Dijk. So I'm a Sargent fan. So like I told you, I do have a cold. It's not just this.
Right.
This clown nose on me. So what can we learn from Dutch group stage performances? Lodge, I'm going to let you jump into really their whole setup and why they might be beatable. But they were very organized. I don't think they played any of those three teams at a particularly sharp.
Yeah.
I want to say the opposite of toothless, so with teeth, if you will.
Yeah.
Something like that. But none of Ecuador don't really have anybody crazy in the attack. Senegal was missing Sadio Mane, and then Qatar is Mickey Mouse international team.
Right. Yeah. The way the Qatar plays, you just want me to start get into it?
Yeah, just maybe what you think makes them potentially, just what you learned from their group stage performance.
Sure. So the way that the Dutch have played since the beginning of time, since guys like Johan Cruyff, like legends of the game, it's called total football. So what they're trying to do is possession-based soccer, where it's a lot of all the way building up from the back. It's not always quick, fast attacks, but it's more slow possession, slow build, all the way get up. You have things like skills and things like that are used every once in a while, but it's really just about possession-based.
The Cruyff turn.
The Cruyff turn, yeah. Their coach is now in his third stint as the national coach of the Netherlands, Louis van Gaal. Every single time he has had a successor who has come in and tried to play a little bit more creative than him, and all of them have failed, and they have gone right back to this man who plays the most boring level of soccer that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Still considered total football, but so boring.
Yeah.
What he does is essentially it's a 5-3-2 to get into the formation. 5 defenders, 3 midfielders, 2 strikers. He has the midfielders drop back where the kind of defenders are, gain the ball from there, has the strikers kind of gain back a little bit, and so you're playing out of the back, funnel it out wide, and because you have 5 from the back, you're usually trying to overload a side, and so you're trying to have more numbers than the opposition, play around them, put somebody in either over the top to the way back if the ball is open, or just kind of funnel it to a corner, put in service from outside, and score from there. That is pretty much the way that they play and the way that they have boringly gone through this Group A in the most systematic way I think I've ever seen it. Like, it was just, you never thought that they were going to lose a game, but
Yeah.
you were never like, wow, this team is good. You were
Yeah.
never like, damn, they're like just outclassing everybody.
So in other words, lots of low percentage crosses, and then like low percentage. It's not so much playing over the top, is it? Or
It's not necessarily playing over the top. I guess I misspoke. It's a little bit playing through the middle. You'll have a 1-2 here and there, but it's really waiting for the defense to make a mistake.
Okay.
It's possessing, similar to how Spain plays, but not as
Okay.
quick, I would
Gotcha.
say. So Spain is very quick, and they try to get people to pull out of position. Really what Netherlands does is they wait for somebody to just not be paying attention or be so bored with the way that they're playing, and then
Fun.
that's when they strike.
sounds like this game's really going to win over some casuals, huh? We're going to throw Berhalter in the mix, and we're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you point something out there that I think might be of worthy discussion on a Netherlands pod. Netherlands is probably the team that's considered the best team to never win the World Cup. Mm-hmm. They had some legendary battles with Germany back in like the 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. Not a great shared history between the two countries, and I think there was also just very like football related rivalries that
Right.
began. But they really have like legends of the game in terms of players. We mentioned the Cruyff turn.
Mm-hmm.
Johan Cruyff is kind of this guy who I believe with Barcelona.
Yep. I mean, Ajax as well, but Barcelona as well.
Yeah.
And then just in the kind of the modern age, guys that maybe you might ring a bell. Robin van Persie, Arjen Robben made it to the final against Spain, ended up losing 1-0, but that was
the
kind
World
of
Cup final.
Yeah, that was their last golden generation. These guys aren't necessarily a golden generation. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's because the World Cup is every 4 years. It's kind of like a collective group of people within that kind of window who you have 8 or 9 guys from that generation who it's either their first World Cup or their second World Cup. They've had a little bit of experience. They've been playing with each other for all of their lives, and they're ready to like kind of take it on.
And like lots of people view them as like their most talented group ever, right?
Right. And so Belgium, last World Cup, it was their golden generation.
Yeah.
They ended up placing third, which is incredible for a country their size. But
Yeah. Which Netherlands is pretty similar. So
Yeah.
the success that they've had, although they haven't won a World Cup, is still pretty remarkable.
it is. It is for sure.
Yeah. And so yeah, real innovators of the game, and like kind of a really iconic brand. You know, they have the yellow jerseys and the
Orange.
orange jerseys,
Orange, yeah.
the orange jerseys and the orange army that follows them everywhere. If you're an F1 fan, you've watched those same orange army kind of dominate the F1 races when Max Verstappen's racing. So you're gonna get the same similar deal when the Netherlands plays and their support is rowdy.
Yeah, like in high school when we had like our soccer camps preseason, we had Dutch camp, which was just a week of Dutch coaches coming over and practicing with us and really instilling their system. So,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Damn. So you guys tried to play like the Dutch almost?
Tried. We tried a 3-back and a 5-back for
Okay.
I would say a solid 2 or 3 games. And then we went back to
Until they went home.
yeah, until we got like our consistent 4-3-3 back. But yeah, I mean they try new stuff, which is cool. but they're really kind of set in their way of playing that same way. It's just kind of the formation that best supports it with their players.
Yeah.
Right now, to talk a little bit about the personnel, as far as the wide guys, we have Daley Blind and Marcel Dumfries,
Okay.
who are two relatively older guys. Dumfries is on the right, much faster, more built guy. Daley Blind is on the left, kind of older, slower. And so when the ball is going to be on the left side of their field, we're going to see a lot more possession. When the ball is on the right side of their field, we're going to see a lot more runs in behind, a lot of pace trying to beat us, and then play across in behind.
Okay.
I think Daley Blind is probably going to be putting in a lot of balls from a deep lying position, where Marcel Dumfries is probably going to be playing from a kind of closer to our end line.
Okay. Deep line position, like.
Denzel Dumfries, not Marcel.
Gotcha.
Deep lying meaning, so from where our semicircle is on our half
Yeah.
to the 18, in between that area
Okay.
is where Daley Blind is going to be playing a lot of his balls.
More of
in.
an accurate passer, you think? And
Right.
Then the other guy, Dumfries, is going to be trying to use more of his athleticism, maybe?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Hey, I'm learning too out here. So,
I'm learning too out here.
just this nose cold combo is really doing me dirty. So why might they be beatable? If you mind if I take this one here,
Go for it, please.
asking you all the questions.
Been talking too much.
No,
Yeah.
you're killing it. You're killing it. So in my estimation, like you said, boring team, right? Scoring goals at the World Cup by itself is difficult. We've talked about having a really good striker to do it. And Cody Gakpo's been scoring for them, but he's not really a traditional striker. And like we said, potentially they haven't played great competition. That's not to say they won't throw goals on us, but there's some caveats in there worth considering. Strikers are important, and there are other factors that just go against teams scoring goals. I mean, think of all the 0-0 games people have seen in the World Cup so far.
Right.
Think of the U.S.'s games where we haven't hit over 2 goals in a single game yet. And these players generally don't have as much time and chemistry together. That's why club football can be more appealing on the eye, because it's like they just know their teammates a little bit better, and they're more hand selected to be really good. Chemistry, yeah,
Right.
really good fits.
Yeah.
And so with those kind of factors that play against scoring goals, you need guys who can provide a moment of magic, somebody to really be the key that unlocks the defense, thread the needle kind of thing. We've had that with Pulisic so far. You know, whatever doubts there may have been to whether he could be that guy, like the jersey today.
Yeah.
By the way, how about it? I'll flash my Tyler Adams while we're at it. But you need somebody to really unlock the defense. And despite the fact that they are loaded on the back line, they have lots of experienced defenders. I don't look at anybody in the Dutch attack and really get nervous. I would go so far to say that, Memphis Depay is experienced and good, but he hasn't been playing with his club team.
He also hasn't been playing with this team. He's been subbing in, I believe.
Okay, he has been subbing, but he hasn't been starting.
Right. I know. I'm building on it. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, sorry. I apologize. My bad.
I'm not calling you a clown or anything.
Well said. Good point. Yeah, and Frankie De Jong, he's pretty good. I mean, he's more than pretty good, but all-around midfielder, box to box, can certainly be creative.
Sure.
But they don't have like a true number 10, I suppose.
Yeah.
Although Gakpo might be it. Anyways, they can play a game that lends itself to low scoring, and maybe they don't pick the lock, so to speak.
Right.
And so for the U.S., what makes them beatable from a perspective of us in the year 2022, it's kind of funny. You think back to 2014 when we played Belgium in the round of 16, right? And Tim Howard made the most saves of any keeper ever in the World Cup, and we still lost.
Yeah.
Well, what is that? For me, that tells you we hit our ceiling with that team, right?
Right.
That caliber of team. And so what I would tell fans is kind of look to the England game. That the way maybe there didn't end up being a goal in that game, but you saw how competitive the U.S. was, and namely how we were able to play in the midfield, because the MMA Musa, McKennie, and Adams, I think they can compete with some of the better teams in the world. That's what they showed against England, and that's what I would expect against the Netherlands. You look down, start to finish in our team, right? Matt Turner, he's showing us lots of good stuff as a goalie, but you wouldn't consider him among the elite. Right. Our defense has been pretty damn good. Haven't conceded from open play, but not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination. And then our front line, we mentioned how striker is mainly a weak point. However, our midfield is right up there. Maybe not with the best in the world, but can play with the best in the world.
Sure.
And so if the Dutch are struggling to get a foothold in this game because McKennie, Musa, and Adams are playing their destroyer role and really getting in there, mixing it up, and making life difficult for them, they don't have as much of a reliable source to pick that lock, and that's how we could really disrupt the game, make this game last long, put it into the last 20 minutes of it, hopefully tied, or even push it to extra time or worse penalties.
Right.
And we could make this a very difficult game for them. Have the U.S. just really be a team that's difficult to play against, and that's kind of a route for success. Or we go out and play like we did against England and create chances, and who knows, maybe we're the more aggressive team. But that's how I would view them as beatable. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. It kind of reminds me of the last World Cup. Like, the team that ended up making it to the final, Croatia.
Yeah.
They did not win a game from open play, I don't believe, in the entire World Cup. I think it was they made it to pens, they won in pens. They made it to pens, they won in pens.
Yeah.
It was pretty much just grit all around. I don't think we necessarily have to play that exact way, but when we're only having 2 goals go in the entire group stage, it makes you think, do we have the type of guys to kind of have that type of performance? I think against this Netherlands team, because of the ways that you talked about that attack that they have, I'd agree. The only thing that really scares me about them is set pieces. When you're getting guys like Virgil van Dijk, Matthias de Ligt, Nathan Ake, they're center backs, giant guys.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have the height to deal with them when it comes to set pieces. And so I think it really becomes a question of what Greg wants to do when it comes to the second half, when we may be in a 0-0 game, we may be in a 1-0 game, and we need to make a decision of whether or not we're going to put in height. I hope he makes a decision to put in height, and I hope it's the right guys.
So building on that, another question we got was, is Walker Zimmerman at center back or Cameron Carter-Vickers at center back? Obviously, the first 2 games, he called on Walker Zimmerman. And then for this third game, he went with Cameron Carter-Vickers. Presumably, Walker Zimmerman may be thought of as the guy in terms of the way he's established himself in the team, the comfort level he's established himself with, but also good in the air. He showed that at the end of the Iran game for sure.
For sure.
And then Cameron Carter-Vickers didn't have that same comfort, didn't get as many looks in with the team in the past year and a half until this big start he was handed, but probably speedier than Walker Zimmerman. So he was able to deal with the threat of the Iranian counterattack. Now, I would say Cameron Carter-Vickers played excellently, probably better than Zimmerman's first 2 starts.
Sure.
So how do you reconcile this between the set-piece threat of the Dutch, their big towering presence, and then maybe just how Cameron Carter-Vickers did last game? Who would you choose between those 2 guys?
It sucks because I want to see us play the type of football that would be winning a game, type of soccer that would be winning a game as opposed to defending a game.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, just based on the height and the pure set piece threat that the Dutch kind of oppose to us, I would definitely say it's got to be Walker Zimmerman.
Okay.
I mean, like you saw the last 20 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
He was a monster. He won every single ball in the air. Everything that came to him, that's just instilling confidence into him. To go up against the best in the world, he's going to have to do that. I don't think Cameron Carter-Vickers brings us that. How tall is he?
He's only like 5'10", 6 foot.
Yeah, because I saw him next to Pulisic in the starting 11 when they were doing the national anthem, and I was like, holy shit, this guy is not tall.
6'1".
Really?
That's actually decent, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd still go with the 6'4" guy, but
Okay.
I'm going to say Walker Zimmerman. What about you?
Man, I was leaning Cameron Carter-Vickers, but you're sort of talking me into it. I mean, I guess Yeah, I mean, they got some serious athletes back there. You know, I think I'm still going to go Cameron Carter-Vickers because I'm hopeful that the U.S. can actually come out here and play. I'm not overly impressed by the Dutch. Well, obviously, set-piece threat is going to be there, whether we have the ball or not.
Right.
Probably more prominent if they have the ball and are forcing corners and stuff like that. But
Right.
I actually feel good about our chances to run the midfield and shock the Dutch. I don't really rate them among the best teams, I should say. They're still one of the best teams.
Yeah.
But, so I think I would rather go with Cameron Carter-Vickers, who just feel confident as an overall player with after that last performance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the only reason that I'm doing it is because I go back to that Wales game where they just threw up 3 strikers all the way up top, big guys, and we just had no answer, and it was the scariest thing that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that I would go with him. I like CCV better than I like Walker Zimmerman, but just for the way that this game I think is going to go, we probably have to go that way.
Yeah. Just to close out with like kind of an injury update, Christian Pulisic, quote unquote, pelvic contusion. Yeah. Put his body on the line for sure, but it looks like he will be back. It seems like our camp is really keeping their cards close to their chest in terms of some of our injuries. Continued speculation about Gio Reyna, who appeared to be not happy. If you saw the video there was this really cool video that was 95% really cool of the team coming into the hotel after the big win, and Gio is marching in as everyone's clapping. He's still got his headphones on.
Yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah, he looks pretty salty. Doesn't give Pulisic a hug, who was greeting everyone. Don't love it. Honestly, like, I don't know how you feel about it, but it kind of bothered me.
I mean, 20-year-old kid, put him in that position. He's expecting to play. He probably had – I mean, Greg said that he didn't put promises in anybody's head. He probably put promises in Gio's head. It's frustrating from his point of view. At the same time, as a professional, I think you got to move on, but it's difficult to call a 20-year-old a professional because I know if I were in that situation, I'd be mad as hell too.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I'm not like, the last thing I'm going to do is try and be like a hot take merchant with Gio here, but like I personally do I do think fans maybe love the idea of having a silver bullet unused, or even love the idea of hating on Berhalter, albeit I totally agree Berhalter should have played him more. But if your team's winning, I would prefer he be a little more of a pro about it. And like, I just don't think U.S. Soccer like owes so much to Gio Reyna. If he's so damn good, like he can go out and figure it out, whether it be here or at Dortmund. I'm getting a little tired of the discourse around him, but
yeah.
Yeah,
well,
I mean, if Pulisic's not good to go, I want Gio Reyna playing.
Oh, 100%. I want Brendan Aronson still as that spark plug. I think he's done that tremendously, better than any of us ever imagined for this tournament. Every single game he has come in and impacted, and he's been kind of the star of the second half.
Yeah, agreed there. All right, gonna end you like we're skipping Shannon or some shit. Did Pulisic become the GOAT?
Oh my God.
Here we go.
Let me
pick
a side, and I'm going to argue the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. Pick a side.
I think he did somewhat underwhelmingly because I think we all had a feeling this would happen. Mm-hmm. But it could not have. I mean, the World Cup only comes every 4 years, right? So.
Well, what the hell? You're a clown, man. What about Landon Donovan in the 90-whatever minute against what? Algeria?
Yeah.
To get into the knockout rounds?
Sorry, Pulisic scored way earlier than that.
No.
Well, you want to.
We're talking about big-time games. We're talking about big-time players. Landon did it better.
Okay. What about Clint?
I mean, Clint's up there, but for me,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're talking
I'm
about.
not gonna lie. I'm very surprised by the energy you just picked up there.
I
forgot I was a clown. You kind of made me feel better.
I had to go skip. I thought you were Shannon.
I forgot we were role playing the FS1. That's been one of my favorite things about this World Cup is a game will end and it'll be like because of all the stoppage
right there.
Yeah, the game like the stoppage time has become so crazy that it runs into the other TV blocks, and so they'll be like, "And the game is over. Mexico's eliminated, and here's Skip and Shannon." So that's pretty classic. But,
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't skip.
No, I mean I see it from both angles. I think he's been the biggest big game player for us that you could ever ask for. He was the one that ushered it in. We still call him the LeBron James of soccer. When it goes down, he'll probably be the GOAT. I don't know if this is the game that does it, just because. I mean, honestly, I don't fucking know.
The more you think about it, right?
The more
it didn't. It's that question was the first thing from your mind yesterday, but it's kind of interesting.
It ushers in because it's bringing in all the non-soccer people to be like, wow, soccer's cool. He was the guy, and now he's doing it on the biggest stage. We had talked about it at length leading up to the World Cup, and to see him do it there. Cool. Goosebumps.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps right now thinking about
you got girls thirsting for him all over TikTok.
Yeah.
That's good for the brand. We love that from the casuals.
We do.
And definitely good to see your franchise players score, and just happy for the kid. I mean, that was just epic Snapchat from the hospital bed. So
yeah.
All right, awesome. Glad to bring you this Netherlands highlight. Lodge, I was worried we weren't going to have any more podcasts to do, but glad to be doing it. And let's beat them. I think we can do it. What's your prediction? Sorry, real quick. Lineup still the same. Then you want Zimmerman and then we're pretty much good everywhere else, right?
Probably. If Christian's hurt, as you said, I probably want Gio.
Okay.
Straighten your tie. It's kind of messed up.
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's my ties. Excuse me, guys.
But no, the lineup's probably the same. Would you agree?
I want the same exact lineup as the other one, and so you just want Zimmerman and then Gio potentially. So score prediction.
I'm not going to make a prediction on the end time score. I think I'm going to make a prediction on the 90th minute score, and I think it's going to be 1-1.
Okay. All right. Cool. Like that. I, despite maybe being a clown, and saying that the U.S. wouldn't make it out of the group stage, I did have a feeling that because of the expectation, not that the expectation was crazy. There's expectation on every single team.
Before we go into it, if you're going to give us a positive spin, just know that you're wearing a clown suit because of your bad takes. So you might want to give us a bad take so we keep on going on.
But then I gotta keep wearing this shit, right?
All right, wearing clown suit, going into the
I don't know what it's like to stand on the wrong side of a bad take. I just want to be right for once. And so my take that I've said for a couple of weeks now is if we get out of this group, it will have meant that we did something good, which was I think we did show first half Wales, all game England, first half against Iran that we can seriously play. I think we can play. I think we're going to go beat the Dutch 2-1. And I think we're going to do it in regular time.
There it is.
So let's do it. I felt better that we would get to the quarterfinals if we made it out than I did feel good that we would make it out of the group, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
I think we're a young team.
One-off games, we can do it.
Yeah, so we're a young team susceptible to momentum, and I think we got it right now. So let's go do it.
Yeah.
I think, this didn't consult you about this, but I'm thinking Old Crow on Saturday.
We Liam was looking at a reservation upstairs. You got to get a reservation.
Okay.
So there's talk. There's also talk of putting 2 TVs down here, inviting over a bunch of people, getting a bunch of alcohol and food.
Okay.
We'll think about what we're doing. I'm not going to dox where I live or anybody for anybody out there.
Not quite, but
yeah.
Text us for the Addy. We'll see if you
make the cut.
We'll see if you know 5 casuals that were on the that were on the American Soccer Crash Course as the test. But if there's a scenario where we can get everyone together at a bar that's in Chicago, that would be an absolute blast. So maybe we'll look out for that on the socials. But thanks again, guys. Always a pleasure. Go USA. Also, real quick, couple of storylines I would be remiss if we didn't talk about. Unfortunately, Lodge and I just jumped off, but gotta talk about it real fast. Right back, Serginio Dest, who was our favorite player in the Iran game. We thought he played fantastic. This Netherlands game is a really unique game for him. If you go back and check I believe it was 6th episode out on Serginio Dest, he came from the Netherlands. He was in the Ajax Amsterdam soccer academy growing up, and that's where he really honed his trade, grew up, and really made a big move choosing the U.S. over the Netherlands. So he'll be a good one to keep your eye out during the game on Saturday, because you can't even imagine what's going to be going through his head, effectively facing the country of his birth where so much of who he is really comes from. So it'll be an interesting one for Serginio. And lastly, I know we talked a lot about Josh Sargent, but right now we have no record on whether or not he's going to be playing, how he's feeling. It looked like it was a decently bad ankle injury, but Unclear whether or not he's going to be able to go. Like we've said with Gio and with Pulisic at times, or Pulisic right now with his groin injury. Our team seems to be really keeping the cards close to their chest in terms of revealing what exactly is going on. So those two things, couldn't leave without it. Just needed to butt in real quick.